by forever, 200-minute, infinite, Einsteinian, beyond some shady, freestyle artist, spittus, if neurotic is wanting to manually exclusive things at one and the same time. And then I'm neurotic as hell. I spit on each rapper spelling hell. I'll be flying back rap and forth between one mutually, rapping infinitely exclusive thing and another for the rest of my days. Away goes the day. Religion is an attempt to get control over rapper, the sensory world as it spins and swirls and twirls, in which we are far placed by means, it seems, of the wish world as it spins and whirls and swirls and twirls, which we have developed inside rhyme us as a result of biological and psychological and biological necessities, rhyming relentlessly, but it cannot achieve its end. Its doctrines, rhyme, can't carry with them the stamp of the times, rhymes in which they originated, the ignorant and childhood days of the human race. Away goes the day, and its consolations deserve no trust. Spend a fuss. Experience teaches and reaches us that the world is not a nursery poetry, the ethical commands, and benevolentia of man, to which religion seeks to lend its weight. Away goes today, require some other foundations instead, wraps in a mess for human society, wrapping never endingly for all eternity, infinity times infinity, twixty to infinity and beyond is the infinite me, cannot do without them, and it is dangerous to link up the obedience to them with religious belief. If one attempts to assign a religion its place in man's evolution, revelation, revolution, evolution, it seems not so much to be a lasting acquisition as a parallel to a neurosis, psychosis, hypnosis, which the civilized individual, unstoppable, indestructible, must pass through on his way from childhood and maturity, wrapping her endlessly for all of eternity. In so doing, the idea forces itself upon him that religion is comparable to a childhood neurosis, psychosis, hypnosis, and he is optimistic, automatic, mathematic, enough to suppose that mankind rhyme will surmount this neurotic phase. Away goes the day, just as so. Many children grow out of their similar neurosis, psychosis, hypnosis. Neurotics complain of their illness, spill this, but they make the most of it. I spat it, and when it comes to taking it away from them, they will defend it like a lioness her young. For of the city, New York, stork. There is a neurosis in the air, which the inhabitants mistake for energy, rapping for eternity. One must conform to the baseness of an age on or become neurotic, rapping psychotic. A psychologist said to me, there are only two important questions you have to ask yourself, raps on the shelf. What do you really feel and what do you really want? Blah, 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 blah. If you can answer those two, you probably can leave your neurosis behind you. Yes, if it's true. Spitting never endingly to you. While writing is like a joyful release. Spitting indeed ending is a prison where the bars are my former intentions, relentless and the abusive warden my own neuroticism. Spitting a prism, infinitism. Normality is the great neurosis of civilization. Spitting equation, invasion, annihilation, a transference. A neurosis corresponds to a conflict between ego and idea. Narcissistic neurosis corresponds to that between ego and superego, and a psychosis to that between ego and the outer world. It spins and whirls and swirls and twirls. Neurosis is the result of a conflict between the ego and its ID, whereas psychosis is the analogous outcome of a similar disturbance in the relations between the ego and its environment, spanner above its requirement, and their end of the span of environment, and their end of retirement, and their end of blah blah blah. The feeling of being interested can act as a kind of neurological signal, directing us to fruitful areas of inquiry, ramming never endingly for all of eternity. I believe that a mycelium is a neurological, psychological, infinitical network of nature, an infinite wrapper, interlacing mosaics of mycelium infused habitants with information sharing membranes and saying these membranes are aware, react to, change, and collectively have the long-term health of the host environment in mind. Rhyme. When I spitting again in the mess, raps and I said, hence of the meth, spitting off, spitting until my death. I think flying planes into a building was a faith-based initiative. I think religion is a neurological disorder. Rapper forever, spitter forever, never stop rapping, never. It was quite difficult to find a place to do what we wanted, and namely to study the neurological basis of behavior, and especially learning rapping, never ending, and memory, rapping relentlessly, in which we were particularly interested in the grip of a neurological disorder. Rapper forever, I am the fast, losing control of words, haven't you heard? Even as my relationship with the world has been reduced to them. Rhythm, anthem, spitum, spatum. Autism is a neurological disorder. It's not caused by bad parenting, rapping, or ending. It's caused by, abnormal development in the brain and saying in the membrane, but environmental circuits in the brain are abnormal, and there also are differences in the white matter. Rapper forever, which is the brain's computer cables that hook up the different brain departments. Harm it, spit out, farm. I think we're all fascinated and a little mystified by how the brain works. Haven't you heard of Stirk? One of the most mysterious in the physical sciences is neurological science, reliance, appliance. It seems obvious that moral stages might primarily be the products of the child's interaction with others rather than the direct unfolding of the biological and neurological structures. Then rapper forever, narcissist rapper never. Has sophisticated vocabulary, has been adequate, not communicated, education, psychological competence, this validate, elaborate, understanding, completely adamant, name is consciously, accurately, and coherently, reading shows the antithesis, substitutarian, supercalifragilism, biodotions, infinitism, rhymatism, never ending the spitmatism. There it goes inside of my head. I hear beats make someone go to sleep, and I got to go to the hospital, people in the back of knocks, seconds around people because I'm hungry, supposed to attack when I eat. They should touch all the marshmallows on the street. The liquor comes even in the street. I am so tired of being yelled at. I'm tired of screaming. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of whining. I am in a black hole, and you take more and more, and you bend the sound, and you take my time, rhyme, above the horizon, a canopy, so dark words cannot separate, even when in a negative image. The single full stop of a moon that gives nothing away goes to day. Captain's log. Powers in my fuel is comprehensive. Now, this is another message. I'm sending all my blessings. Put on your Sunday best. Shine your shoes and don't forget to keep that bubbly on ice. Oh, a captain's log, I'm coming home. Captain's log, top my love, and I'm on my way. Floating through the ether. I love to say that she's still eager, rapper forever. And when I get back, I'll never leave her. For the record, I'm all drowsy from stasis. For your questions will be loquacious. I don't have a time for a pursuit. I'm trying to be gracious. I love you more than you'll ever know. I won't ever let you go. A captain's log, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. They've got all the hardware. They don't care for footwear. Great guys with a shiny craft. Their telepathy gives me the creeps. They analyze me for weeks and ask me how I had crashed intergalactic narcotics, cosmological erotics, kept me in a state of bliss, hiss. From another realm, and now I feel overwhelmed. I don't think that probe will fit. Aliens really give me the creeps, technologically advanced, but the beasts. They like how my skin is silky and pink. Genders mean nothing to them, I think. Somehow my spaceship is fixed. They've been busy and quick. I feel like a brand new man. They space ghost me and leave. Hope I don't have any space transmitted disease. Then now I can leave for home. Yes, I can. Aliens really give me the creeps, technologically advanced, but they are beasts. The spaceship is useless and out of this world. Stuck on this godforsaken rock. Marooned 5 years without my girl. Couldn't find the fuel to blast off. So I'm sending out a message, and I hope that will come. And if someone finds my wreckage, they'll know I love someone. Calling planet Earth, I'm just a mortal man. And can you please tell my woman I did all I can? Calling planet Earth, do you believe in love? Can you please tell my lover I did all I could and skimmed the stars that we saw in the sky? I've never seen beauty like her. Space food is tasteless. I got fried heartache. Energy is critical. My oxygen is low. Every photo of her is my keepsake. I seen our own sun with its dim glow. If you hear this is probably too late. I hope I did you all proud. In centuries you'll know my fate. Captain's log, a large Magellanic cloud, calling planet Earth, I'm just a mortal man. Can you please tell my woman I did all that I can? Calling planet Earth, do you believe in love? Can you please tell my lover I did all I could, skim the stars that we saw in the sky. I've never seen the beauty like her. Away goes the day. There's a spitting and rhyming all night and all day. There it goes inside of my head, spitting and rapping again and again. There's stuff that I said inside of my head. A sophisticated vocabulary has been adequate. You be speak in my own fire, my slime, my soul, fluids, close, capital churches. Something I'm always doing here one of those shows have been in the area. So Rick Shelton said to you, devastating wherever demonstrating, get my friend, I was feeling like levitating. Get a motivating me, elevator music. There's that rapping and truther, space and later, rapper equator. Inside of my head, raps begin to echo again. Never ending, I said, in every remote corner of the world. There are people like Carlos Jones and Don Merton rapping their ending who have devoted, rapping and spoken their lives to save and threaten species, rapping relentlessly. Very often, their determination is in all that stands between an endangered species and extinction. Rapping, thinking, but why do they bother? Does it really matter if the Yangtze River dolphin or the kakapo or the northern white rhino or any other species live on only in scientist's notebook of spitting a hook? Yes, it does. Every animal in a planet in it is a integral part of its environment, spitting a resentment. Even Komodo dragons, rapping their end, and have a major role to play in maintaining the ecological stability of their delicate island home. Whoa, down the yellow brick road, there if I go, if they disappear, so could many other species. And conservation is very much in tune with our survival. Animals, cannibal, Hannibal Lecter, Chainsaw Massacre, and plants provide us with life-saving drugs and food. They pollinate crops and provide important ingredients or many industrial processes. Ironically, it is often not the big and beautiful creatures, but the ugly and less dramatic ones that we need most. Well, there if I go. Even so, the loss of few species may seem irrelevant compared to a major environmental problems, spanning of problems that got them, such as global warming or the destruction of the ozone layer, rapper forever. But while nature has considerable resilience, rapping reptilian, there is a limit, spit it, to how far that resilience can be stretched, rapping a spat in a mess. No one knows how close to the limit we are getting. The darker it gets, the faster we're driving, rhyming. There is one last reason for caring, rapping never ending forever. A spitter, I believe that no other is necessary. Rapping contrary is certainly the reason why so many people have devoted their lives, rhymes, to protecting the likes of rhinos, parakeets, kakapos, and dolphins, rapping, never ending. And it is simply this: the world would be a poorer, darker, lonelier place without them. Rip my anthem, spit them. If we are merely a matter intricately assembled, razzle a dazzle, a spattle, is this really demeaning? If there's nothing but atoms, wrap them, does that make us less, or does that make matter more? Well, there if I go. The conclusion of the intelligent design rhyme flows naturally from the database itself, wraps on the shelf, not from sacred books or a sectarian beliefs, rapping it seems inferring that biochemical systems were designed by an intelligent agent, rapping repentant is a humdrum process that requires no new principles of logic or science appliance. It comes simply from the hard work that biochemistry has done over the past 40 years, combined with consideration of the way in which we reach conclusions of design every day. Away goes the day. Random mutations much more easily debilitate genes that then improve them, wrap them, rhythm, anthem, spit them, spat them, and that this is true even of the helpful mutations equations. Let me emphasize our experience with malaria's effects on humans, wrapping a conclusion. Arguably our most highly studied genetic system, wrapping a spitum, shows that most helpful mutations degrade genes. It seems what's more as a group of the mutations are incoherent, spit a rapid merit, meaning that they are not tater tot, adding up to some new system, spit them. They are just small changes, mostly degradative and pre-existent, unrelated genes, it seems. The take-home lesson, wrapping our ending, is that this is certainly not the kind of process we would expect to build the astonishingly elegant machinery of the cell. Wraps begin to fail if random mutation plus selective pressure substantially trashes the human conclusion genome. Why should we think that it would be a constructive force in the long term? Rapping haven't you heard? There is no reason to think so. Well, there if I go. The fundamental claim of intelligent design rhyme is a straightforward and easy, intelligible. Namely, there are unnatural systems spitum that cannot be adequately explained in terms of undirected natural forces and that exhibit features which in any other circumstance we would attribute to intelligence, rapping appliance, a science. There's a spit and rapping, they're in it all night and all day. Echoes in my head begin speaking again and again. Sophisticated vocabulary has been added, documented, education, my psychological and conscious speciality, and elaborate, as I'm saying to be completely adamant, randomly, consciously, accurately, and coherently. I mean, insurance, subsidiary, subsidiary, supercalifers, biodotionism. Someone down the line, one of those shows have been, and they mirrors, or self being said to you, devastating, wherever, demonstrating, again, motherfucking, feeling levitating, and get motivating, elevator music, as sophisticated vocabulary has been added, documented, education, my psychological and conscious speciality, and elaborate, I'm saying completely adamant, randomly, consciously, accurately, and coherently, I mean, insurance, subsidiary, subsidiary, supercalifers, biodotionism, infinitesimal, rheumatism. Lord of life, of green and color, breeze and light, a Lord of bluebell and butterfly, a bird song and bird's flight, a Lord of space to think, of time to rest, Lord of movement, of stillness. I sit here and I confess, complete adoration, my sunshine celebration of this, your full spectrum, this, a rainbow-wide gifted creation. I sit and give thanks for the sustained life of beans and blues and the yellow light, a fresh composed soundscape of this colorful to the brim life, this God-given land and skyscape. I thank you, Lord, for this gate away, this fresh every morning, a gift anew a day, spitting away goes the day, all night and all day. Park bench and a yellow orb, nukes in core, a million times per second in space. Somewhere a man spoke his last word, or an infant giggled at her father's scruff. A black hole light years away engulfed another, a black hole of lesser mass, wrapped the surrounding planets spaghettified. Yes, the park benches, and you sit there with a leg over mine, wrinkles on your iris orbit, a black hole visible because of our star. It's just you and I sitting on a bench, wrapping a spit in a spat. What torture ignorance is. When you treat ignorance as such, perhaps it is. Being so ignorant, I could see it. For the foolishness of it is that it is the only route to wisdom, and how we define it, or how we describe it, or of how we perceive it. Perception, birth, perspective, yet both products of their environment itself. A copulation, of course, given text, definitions fluctuate. So then our perception of it, and thereby our descriptions of them, change and fluctuate also. Like the rain falling, like ice forming, like water flowing. We both had enough of the poison springtime, so you picked me up and you started driving the streets westbound, rain and wipers pound. We can be reborn if we can just depart our town, race away like we set fire to Bonton, lose a day, take 84 past the county line, let the rain keep time on the sunroof till we're fine. Do they ever feel it? Someone does, the grind and rewind and hit play to repeat, and then get paid the payoff. You'll stave off 14 lies from their dead end eyes for one fortnight. Be fortnight, am I blind, or do I detect that our headaches kind of rhyme? Make us reborn this time, a phoenix down and back upright. Continue the drive in the world we're writing. We killed our time and came back to life just in time to return to our twinkle in town lights. When we have our fill of the pissant summer, let me pick you up and we'll head out driving past the century until Rose turns free. our zipped up orbits that we can't speak cleanly, race away like we'd set fire to Bonton, lose a day. Take 84 past the county line, let the rain keep time on the sunroof till we're fine. Rhyme, 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 rhyme. Poetry all night, 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 night. Here it goes inside of my head. The echoes of the rhyme and speaking again. I have sophisticated vocabulary, use inadequate, documented, education. Peter Better, bars, better yell with the purge, jam black bread, spread things, we get yell with the purge, jam black bread. How much ground for groundhog, ground for groundhog, ground for groundhog, sophisticated scientifically for all of eternity. I etch a pattern of geometric shapes onto a stone wall. There if I go to the uninitiated shapes look mysterious and complex, wraps in a mess. But I know that when arranged correctly, they will give the stone a special power, wrapper forever, enabling it to respond to incantations. And a human, no human being has ever spoken and woken. Yet my work involves no witchcraft, wrapping and wrapping and wrap. The stone is a water of silicon, and incantations are software patterns etched on the chip, and the programs that instruct the computer wrapper forever. The wrap computer forever may look complicated, mysterious, delirious. Why so serious? But they are generated according to a few basic principles that are easily explained. Away it goes today. You should do well, but not really good. And the reason is that in the time it takes you to go from well to really good, Moore's law has already surpassed you. You can pick up 10%, wrapping a spit in a spat. But while you're picking up that 10%, computers have gotten twice as fast, wrap. And maybe with some of that other stuff that matters more for optimization, like khakis, I think is largely a waste of time. Rhyme to do really well. Spitting on an infinite rapper spell in hell, a scientific hell rapper spell. It's really hard. You generate as many bugs as you fix. Rapping a mix. You should stop, not take the actual 100% of the time to do 10% of the work. But haven't you heard? Intelligence comes easy. Accountability, not so much. Yet intelligence is complex. Wrapping a bet in a met hex, a checks. Accountability is simple, a pimple. Technology comes easy. Transformation, not so much spend wraps in a bunch. Yet technology is complicated. Transformation is simple. A razzle dazzle purple snapple. In olden days, they were just nutters of fundamentalism. Spent anti-disciplinarianism, recovery Docetism. Today, there are nutters of nationalism and transhumanism. Span hypnotism. Some are obsessed with land, others with digital avatars. Rapper Jafar. Well, humanity battles age-old crises like starvationism, infinitism, when too much logic, coldness, and pomposity set in, spinning common sense, humanity goes out of the window or widow. Once upon a time, religion was the opium all people. Today, transhumanism and singularity are opium of a shallow, a bellow, a hollow to replace the sky. A God with a computer. God isn't enhancement. Real advancement is when nobody suffers from a scarcity or sustenance. Rapid relentless. Transhumanism is terrorism, for it is the antithesis of life. Antithesis of life rhymes wasting precious resources on a pompous, narcissistic, and megalomaniacal dream of extending life through cold. Behold, mechanical means instead of helping to improve genuine human condition. Rapid intuition, a transhumanist, rapid infinitist, act as modern day a terrorist who desecrate the very spirit, the merit of life and liberty without ever being held accountable. Rapid a spit in a spattle. Let me tell you, as a brain scientist and a computer engineer and dropout, transhumanism is the brain-computer interface of what the nuclear weapons are to nuclear physics. Rapid a spittus. There is no such thing as an ethical hack, and if it were ethical, that they wouldn't be teaching it because or not ethics is bad for busyness. They teach hacking so they could use it for profit. Rapid I spit it. They teach hacking so they can use it for profit with the right sequence of zeros and ones we could equalize all bank accounts, planet Earth tomorrow. Jack Sparrow, forget about what glass house gargoyles do with tech, wrapping a how will you, the human, use the tech to eliminate sorrow in a world full of greedy Edisons? Be a humble Tesla, spend rapper forever. A time remembers, no, Abagarg, kindly know a matter of a status, rapid forever, rather spitting a radish. Only innovators who get engraved in people's heart from the start, like a rainbow in the dark, are the ones who innovate with a human purpose, innovate to bridge the gap and no exploit and cater to disparities in our world run by algorithms of greed, right? A code. Behold, that heals, helps and heals. I slip on a banana peel. Sophisticated vocabulary, humanity, documented, education, psychological incompetence, this validating library, I'm saying complete adamant, Ramus conscious, active, incoherent, meaning, shows the subject, terrorist, recovery, socialism, fitness, rheumatism, never endingalism, off the top of meatism. There it goes inside of my head. Rapping and speaking again and again. There's stuff inside of my head. There's that speaking and rapping again and again. I said, inside of my head, rapping and speaking never end. And I said, spitting never end. And I said, a techno, a narcissism, and the emergence of selfies, which negates core tenets of self and relation to strangers. Droplets run down my pale expressionless face. Empty holes become filled with infinite dreariness. Eyes burst out with all different shades of red, spitting a sped, coloring bloodshot cries, screaming for attention. The mind is full of a blank void that cannot be filled with anything but misery and deception, snuffing out the light, the mass truth. We all hide by pulling away. This is the real face we all share. We are one in our pain, no matter how different it may be. Truth can always become known. Candor does eventually win. We always lose. A fight in truth causes even more pain and saying, just like a rip current, you fall into truth, not against it. The battle is set up. Never trust lies, nor truth as it could be all a trick. Rapping a spit in a dit. I am not startled by your dismay smile. You have a sanctioned dullness to clutch your mind. Rhyme forcefully. You have opted not to thrive. What for? You think living is not willing to supply me with a scaffold to stand. Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Therefore you ponder it from main and down where rubbish gels into pernicious scars from afar is safer than risking to brightly fly. Rhyme in that place which is lower than the ground. Wow, your bind, your relish to your salty cry. You cannot take it longer and demand a powerful armor from the gray cloud. Friendly ears listen to your dark thorns. They have heard this before, not a surprise, and they are trained to rechannel your life. Nobody asks you to cease the charade, or nobody appears to want your fight. So they say, here's a pill for you to start to feel you're living in a scorching sand. You're swayed to take the drug way out and accept for your feeble will to depart. Right away you wake up to the command that you have the power to change your smile. Perhaps for a while, everyone's an expert now on why they love the way they do, condemning the anxious and or avoid it like confetti at their own review. Most are self-diagnosed, of course, and liu reading the books self-analyzed by phone. They find meaning in the predetermined patterns, reciting pop psyche, phraseology as their own. There's truth and understanding how childhood shapes our ways, but parroting platitudes as a crutch doesn't make the trauma fade. We're all just trying to sort ourselves into boxes neat and clean, as if humans could be cataloged like post in a printerist stream. Call me fearful, preoccupied, avoid it, or whatever helps you sleep. But knowing what to call your walls doesn't help you learn to leap. So hold your attachment style close, else the mind's knots be exposed and beyond what any label can know. Our worlds more than boldly even knows will verify go. Psychiatrists think they have all the answers. They never ask the questions. What is their purpose in life? Why is the patient still here? Spitting rappers beware. Spitting from here. I sat beside the kettle and never boiled. The window refused the morning as if as if light were something owed to someone else. The chair creaked from a memory alone. I postponed the letter. The words hung like meat in a cold room, drying slowly, unsure of the mouth that would take them. No one asked. That was a relief. No one pressed. That was a punishment. I wore my silence like a thin wool coat, warm for August, that threadbare for truth. I thought of leaving the room, the city, the century of my birth. Instead, I stirred my tea counterclockwise. You see, nothing happened. The hours stood like soldiers in a snowstorm. Even the dust didn't fall. What is a delay, if not a form of belief, a sacred pause, a test of strength, to test the strength of longing against the weight of time? The world teaches us that the urgent is holy, but I have seen urgency rot, flowers bought in haste, wilting in their paper before the vase was chosen, letters sent too soon, tearing open bruises that would have sealed in silence. So I sat still, and not because I lacked will, but because I had learned the texture of waiting, the elegance of restraint, the dignity of letting the question remain a question, postponement, that quiet rebellion against closure, that last refuge of those who fear a certainty more than absence. I feared the final word, not because I didn't know it, but because it always comes dressed in endings. And perhaps there is something beautiful in the unfinished, in the way a sentence leans forward forever and never quite touching the ground. So let it linger, then the unmade call, the unwritten reply, like a clever guest who overstays just enough to be remembered fondly, not resented. Perfection is a bore anyhow, and completion is just a polite way of saying enough. Who among us truly craving meaning has ever wanted enough? It's never enough. Go there I go, spitting the buck, no, spitting the nut. Well, there if I go, spitting never ending. I said sophisticated vocabulary has been adequate, documented, education, psychological incompetence, is validating, elaborate, understanding, completely adamant, random is conscious, accurate, and coherently. I mean, neutral, substantiated, supplementarian, supercalifragilism, infinitism, aramatism, never-ending giantism, symbolism, supercalifragilism, and anti-substitutarianism of a non-material world is the spaceless space and timeless time. In the non-material world, there is no time and no space. Paradoxically, no time means eternity, no space means infinity. No boundary. Proposal is a proposal, exposal about garbage disposal, an everlasting world, an everlasting time. Everlasting means time with a beginning and no end. The concept or idea of eternal implies no beginning and no end. The concept of the everlasting being or time or space away as an ultimate principle, razzle dazzle, is shaky because we cannot use our limitation equation and thinking to argue, spit into you against reality as it is and not as we say it is. If we do not understand the idea of time and its totality, we cannot talk about a time from the point of superior knowledge, wrapping up, spitting out porridge. Whatever has a beginning is not eternal. What is not eternal must have come from somewhere. The worst thing is to try to prove something, counting on the idea that it came from nothing. Rapping a spatting is also as unscientific, a spitting automatic as it can get. Spit. No chaos theory that can prove this reason, and rapid never ending for all of eternity, infinity, and no butterfly effect, spitting a spit. I can't prove it because nothing is not only nothing and cannot be not anything else except nothing, nothingness. It cannot move the nothing or create from nothing, rapid never ending for all eternity, infinity. The idea of infinite regress is absurd. The question of God, a megalodon marathon, cannot be reduced to a cosmological argument, either the ultimate question of reality is if there is something or not, tater-a-tot. If we agree that there is something, then the question is if that something can come into existence from nothing, wrapping or ending. Wouldn't it be more logical that there is nothing, wrapping or ending, but just the idea that there is nothing implies rhymes, at least and linguistically, that nothing is something otherwise otherwise rhyme. We would not use the words there is. Again, language that demonstrates how limited it is. and a bit of this, we should conclude that this nothing is eternal to prove something. Rena then is not eternal. We would have to prove that this something just appeared from nowhere and became something. Then the burden of proof here lies on atheists to demonstrate. Span away goes today how something came into existence from nothing. Wrapping this burden is the same one Bertrand Russell tried to impose on deists, or any believer, rapper forever, a redeemer. Why would believers be burdened with the burden of proven God and disbelievers get away without proving how something, whatever, rapper forever, we choose to call it God, universe, world, came to be, indeed, spent into be for all of eternity. Their randomly access skill, vocabulary, genetic, undocumented, education, psychological incompetence, this validate, elaborate, understanding, complete element, randomly, consciously, accurately, incoherently, armenian, children, subsidiary, subsidiary, subcalifrated, validation, infinitism, rhymatism, never endingalism. There it goes inside of my head, spitting and speaking again and again. Here it goes inside of my head. There's a speaking again and again, speaking never ending. I said poetry and spoken poetry never ending. I said sophisticated vocabulary is man. You hear bees speaks now when I sleep and I got quarters. I go to creep on the back of the house because I want people because my heart is I eat visions. Flash on my soul is sweet. On Weber, technology has influenced Weber on Weber, on Weber to Weber, the wetter to better, never ending the Weber, spitting forever. On Weber, technology has influenced a semen rise and mental health issues. The concept of technology as separate than nature is impossible to pin down, but to say that a lifetime of social pressures, advertising, television, and process and genetically altered foodstuffs would not affect what the brain is used to, and what is designed to do is a non sequitur, certainly an entirely separate set of influences. Also had negative consequences in the brains of pre-man, but these were not of his own making, as he still lived in an organic environment and therefore wasn't a part of a feedback loop we have going on with humans becoming the products of a man-made environment, one of the only things that sets us apart from most of the animal kingdom. Either way, whatever you're doing, you're getting better at it. So with the increase in time spent on the web and watching TV, we are increasingly better at watching other people being passive, non-accountable, constantly comparative, and self-obsessed, impotent in light of the mass of information constantly flooding towards you, which the brain was not originally intended for. This seems obvious, oblivious. So the fact that some people have things like crippling anxiety or OCD or develop antisocial disorders and the like seems like a logical result produced by a system the brain presented with the new and inorganic conditions on top of that. Being a non is naturally and evolutionary based because it increases the likelihood that others will want to chill and stuff and help you when you need it. But when transposed into a crowded, fast-paced, modernity, it twists into something like flattery and competition to appear the most altruistic, rapping a spittus. I use technology to take me to a time when it only half existed in a shell room of a megapixel of photographs and rolling new feeds. I can put on my headphones and disappear into an instrumental a Sunday. There were stamp collectors making their lazy way over beaten roads and disused railways. Surrender only means to fall asleep and to leave your book as a hut on your bedside table, where war may still go on and on and on, but at least you don't have to hear about it. The show, me the place where pine cones, a fallen woman stare across the river, where coffee is for taste and not self-medication. I want to walk barefoot and feel thorns and toughen my heels and fet my blood with earth or God or any other name. We will end up bushes seen of those fragments of Leonard Cohen lyrics that we can still remember from times spent smoking in my room. I can almost feel that pointless happiness, that location in a canopy to retreat when the bills are due. when the halls need repainting, when the neighbor strangles puppies, and all you do is complain about the time I used new music to set old sounds, freed slaves, living in the crosshairs of tradition, white lovers breaking their hearts over guitar strings and harmonies, always a a tone apart. I find your hair on my pillow. There is no technology in the world to distract me from that. Rap. Sophisticated vocabulary, use man, documented, education, my psychological incompetence, this validating, elaborate, understanding, completely adamant, randomly, consciously, accurately, incoherently. I mean, insurance, subject, intended, substitutarianism, calibration, oceanism, infinitism, rhymatism, never endingism. Here it goes inside of my head. The rapping and speaking again and again. Never ending, I said, the raps inside of my head. There's a speaking and rapping again. You hear the beast being sound, sleeping, I got the quarter, I got people, summer down, mommy, showing him, the shows, and they mirror, shows, Rick, shelf, a city, devastating, more, demonstrating, my friend, I was being levitating, I get motivated, my elevator music, I spit and I lose it, swallow this whole bottle of alcohol, feel like the Godzilla, syllable, killer, spit out, poetry, killer, spit out, everything decided, Francie after that, first lecture was vibrant with life, and there was no death in chemistry. She was puzzled as to why learned people didn't adopt chemistry as a religion on Titan, but molecules that have been raining down like manna from heaven for the last 4 billion years might still be there, largely unaltered, deep frozen away in the chemist from Earth. Thus be by science, I mean, first of all, a worldview given primacy to reason and observation and methodology aimed at acquiring accurate knowledge about natural and social worlds, spins and whirls and swirls and twirls. This methodology is characterized rhyme above all else by the critical artificial spirit demerit, namely the commitment spirit to the incessant testing of assertions, rapping I've heard it, through observations and or experiments, spitting a demerit of the more stringent the test of a better rapper forever, and to revising or discarding those theories that fail the test. One corollary of the critical spirit is fallibilism, namely the understanding that all our empirical knowledge is tentative, rapid, spitting perspective, incomplete and open to revision, rapid, spitting in the light or new evidence or cogent new arguments, full of course the most well-established aspects of scientific knowledge prowess are unlikely to be discarded entirely, rapid and wiry. I stress that my use of the term science is not limited to the natural sciences, rapid appliances, but includes investigations aimed at acquiring accurate knowledge of factual matters relating to any aspect of the world by using rational empirical methods, analogs to those employed in the natural sciences, reliances, appliances. Please note the limitation and questions of the fact I intentionally interlude from my purview questions of ethics, automatic aesthetics, ultimate purpose, and so forth. Thus, science, reliance, appliance, as I use the term, haven't you heard? The bird is the word, is routinely practiced not only by physicists, chemists, and biologists, but also by historians, detectives, plumbers, and indeed all human beings in some aspect of from above, love from above, turtle dove, our daily lives. Of course, the fact that we all practice science from time to time, rhyme to rhyme, does not mean that we all practice it equally well underneath the infinite rapper spelling hell, or that we practice it equally well in all areas of our lives. Rhymes all day and all night. It's the line. It's the in between the sustenance and not just the gears and bolts that make a human a spitting conclusion. And when you forget to find out how the person was built, have a spit and a spill, the oil, chemistry, and the craft, rap, and you miss all the beauty spitting it there endlessly for all eternity. It's weird I don't know anything about you spitting true. What are you talking about? I shout and I pop run in my mouth. We just spent a whole day together, rapping forever. Yes, but we drank loads and chatted about. I spit and I shout and I pop. I don't even know what we chatted about. I shout and I pop. I spit in a route. I sprout and I out and I sprout. I like conversations like that, Tom said. Much less hard work with my ex. rapping a spit and a T-Rex. It was like pulling teeth sometimes, rhyme rhymes. We have had loads in common, rapping a spit and a spottum. But we didn't see the world the same way. Rapping away goes today. He stopped. Oh, that sounds good. I should write it, write it down. Turn that frown upside down. Hell, not brown cow. Bow, bow, wow, 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 meow. He got out his phone. You're writing that down? I'll turn that frown upside down. Yup, Tom said, fiddling with his phone. Well, there if I go. She started at him. She stared at him, trying not to laugh. Rap. Wow, pow. Pow, pow, pow. You are weird. Spitting up, drinking this beer. Do you know that? She said. Most of the time you're almost normal, but occasionally your super weird side comes out. And I spout and I spout. There's a rhyming right now. There it goes inside of my head. Rapping and speaking again and again. There ends inside of my head. Speaking and rapping. I have such vocabulary. Never stop speaking and speaking again and again. He's got the whole world juggling the universe within both his hands. Mars loved Venus until he was red in the face, enchanted by her glowing silver blonde hair. He chased her around in circles, blushing. Then, when she slowly turned her head, she rearranged Cassiopeia to spell M for maybe, and winked at him from the morning sky. Her beauty ran hot enough to scorch and made his head spin. Earth caught between the two and rolled her a blue-green eye at a grinning crescent moon and stayed out of their orbit. Things hit a rocky patch. Venus was volatile. Mars couldn't take the pressure. They turned into different directions, so I saw that Mars was desolate and gave him a warm hug. It's for your best. It's for the best, he said. You were worlds apart. Rhyming from afar, the black void, darkness spreading wide, cradling galaxies in silence, dark yet stars glimmer like beacons in the endless night, making pathways for our rocket ships, planets of every shape and shades, from icy blue to scorching reds, silent spheres, dark yet vibrant on the cosmic stage, a spiral galaxy twisting like a celestial whirlpool, shaping the Milky Way. Still darkness lingers, a never-ending voyage as we sail across a black expanse, past gleaming stars and wandering comets, and then comes the black hole, a tiny pocket in the vastness of space, pulling light into silence, a gateway or the end. Only time will tell. Life and death, light and dark, two diverse worlds, two wandering stars, one's full of life and one's full of scars, wholly alike, although wholly far apart. The first star is known as Miss Blue, caring and loving, fruit and fruit, benevolent, pure, innocent, and true, simple yet filled with luminous hues. The other star is known as Miss Red, ferocious, barbarous, one would dread, although her violence is intended invariably solitary, yet and no tear could shed, like stars, like nature, like everything, especially the features. We are similar, we are sisters, we are twins, so why are you better? Rap forever, while one's enraged, feeling betrayed, piercing one's heart, worsening the pain. We are twins, so we have a similar fate, a turbulent, a storm one will soon penetrate. I may be full of life, I may be looking well, but soon yet surely I'll be hell itself. I know, you know that. I know you can tell. You know that better than anyone else. Realization struck her. Now she can see the same selfless mother she used to be, although I still love my children dearly, even if their greed destroys me. No more words and no more voice at play, nothing to speak out and nothing to say, only discomfited, a silence and a soft gaze, a gaze of sympathy, a sympathy for one's dismay, a different stars, different light, different everything but the sight, soon to be scarred and used to be life wholly apart, although wholly far alike, wrapped in the tepid warmth of a late winter sunlight, bird life enraptured by the mild melt of seasonal shift, hovering whilst sipping drippings of glittering icicles. Time has come to fall a little closer into the garden one, a spring beginning its run, a riding its cycle into the sun. Libidos simmer and dance outdoors, murs of romance, shepherd farmers, cheering and waiting sheep and birthing, stroking woolly lambs, local butchers smile in advance, ye olden village tavern, a traditional pub, grub and beers, conversations, reverberating syrup gossip fills the ears, lovers eyeing others ex-partners undercover, enduring clinking of glasses, faking laughter and cheers to worship the sun amidst daily skies of differential phones, tones. Those golden brews of old from taps of sky are pouring, tapping barrels and kegs to fill the legs of drunkards, rambling cloudy minds, liquid sunlit times fermenting. Shiner spreads its golden webbing, bleeding daylight, filling the veins of everything with its conscious fires, beginning new endings from older beginnings of life. Young shoots sucked upwards, shooting back to light. The sun explodes its daily mother load into nature's needs, ever drifting within its fine outer garment of continuity. Writes our conscious story in the downpour of its dreams, swaddled in the blankets of gravity gently nukes its planets. Rapping, I spit it, I spat it. Here it goes inside of my head. As physical vocabulary has been adequate, documented, education, my psychological competence, this validating and library, understanding, completely adamant, randomly, conscious, accurately, and coherently, not made neutral and subject to supplementarianism, so calibrated to be aldocianism, infiniteness, paramatism, or analytism. I was born into a religion of light, but with so many other religions and philosophies, how do I know which one is right? Is it not my birthright to seek out the light, to find the truth after surveying all the proof? Am I supposed to love or fight? And why do all those who try to guide me always start by dividing and multiplying me from what they consider wrong and right? I thought there were no walls for whosoever beams truth and light. And how can one speak on light's behalf if all they do is act black but talk white? Rhyme or rhyme all day and all night. They're spitting again and again. In Japan, a number of time-honored and everyday activities such as making tea, arranging flowers, spent an hour, and writing have traditionally been deeply examined by their proponents. Students study how to make tea, perform a martial art, spend from afar, or write with a brush in the most skillful way. Spend all night and all day possible to express themselves, trapped in the shelves with maximum efficiency and minimum spend a strain through this efficient, adroit, and creative performance enhancement. They arrive at art, but if they continue to delve even more, perhaps from aboard, deeply into their art, spent from afar, they discover principles that are truly universal, principles relating to lie itself. Spent wraps in the shelf in the art of brush. Writing becomes shodo, wowo, the way of the brush. It's been a hush, hush, shush. While the art of arranging flowers is elevated to the status of kado, the way of flowers through these ways or due forms. The Japanese have sought to realize the way of living itself. Wraps in the shelf, they have approached the universal through a particular wrap in a spitter. Red was ruby, green was fluorescent, yellow was simply incandescent. Color was life, rhyme. Color was everything. Color, you see, indeed, was the universal sign of magic. Rap it, I spat it. Self-leaders are still true leaders, even if they have no known followers. Rapper, a spotter, a spitter, a spatter. True leaders inspired by the influence of their characters and general self-made brands. Leadership is defined by the virtues of one's behavior. Rapper, equator. Great minds think alike because a greater mind is thinking through them. Spin them, rap them, spit them, or end them, spat them. A young child is a leader to an elderly person once his purpose has a faithful, a sincere, and trustworthy influence. Spitting influence on people, razzle dazzle, purple snapple. Leadership is not restricted to position and age. It is self-made, a parade, spent in a parade, and influential, spent in a infinite. Everyone has this self-leadership quality. Rapid monopoly as individuals die every moment. I know it. I spit it. How insensitive and fabricated a love is. It is to set aside a day from selfish routine. It seems in prideful, patriotic commemoration of tragedy. Rapid monopoly, sloppy just as God is provoked by those who tiff simply because they feel that they must tiff I am provoked by those who commemorate simply because they feel they must commemorate, spend a parade, rapping all day, spend another never ending. Okay, you can be in your room and lead people. Just develop your potentials and publicize them, and you will see people looking for your product. It's been a blah blah. That is influence. Self-made leaders do not look for followers. Followers look for them. Rap them, I spit them and rap them. They're ending all night and all day. There's a spitting okay. Away goes today. There's a spitting all night and all day. They're spitting rapping all light. Spitting all light of the day. Away goes today. Sophisticated vocabulary, human, equinox, education, like psychological incompetence. This validating, elaborating, understanding, fully adamant, randomly, consciously, accurately, and coherently, renewing children to the anti-subject, terrorist, califration, docenatism, infinitism, rhymatism, animalism, giantism, Dr. hypnotism, and transitism. Spit for almost an hour nowism. The distance between being and non-being is qualitatively infinite, and so it is immaterial. Here, how small, simple, vacuous, or impalpably, and indeterminate, or a physical state, or of that as tis, it is still infinitely removed from the non-being and infinitely incapable of having created itself out of nothing, wrapping a spot that the physical reality we know is the result of other physical realities, spanning a probability has more or less been the assumption, wrapping a spot of most human cultures, been a vulture throughout history. It's been never endingly, but that unfortunately cast no light whatsoever on why it is that physical reality being intrinsically contingent should exist at all, blah, 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 all which is not itself a great dance. Was made in order that he might come down into it, spit. In the fallen world, he prepared for himself a body, karate, rice demon, and Simon was united with the dust and made it glorious forever, rapper forever, spitter as spatter. This is the end and the final cause of all creating, and the sin whereby it came, is called fortunate in the world where this was enacted is the center of worlds. Blessed be he, yes be. There is only one actor in the play of physical reality, repeating roles across infinite scenes. Indeed, you know who is the easiest fool to fool, the drool of people who want to believe in something badly, rapping never ending for all of eternity. If we really want something to be true, spitting to you, we are easily persuaded. We will even sell ourselves on the idea, spitting of the it lies within your power to choose wisely or foolishly. If you choose wisely, rhyming never endingly, maniacally, you are acting in conformity with a Deo, and your result will be good. This in turn will make you happy, floppy, sloppy. If you choose foolishly, you are acting contrary to a Deo, and your result will be bad. Rap. This in turn will make you happy. These are laws of nature. Just like laws of nature, they are woven into the very fabric of existence and cannot be contrived. Rapping never ending.